I'm Nicholas Whyte, and I'm the Senior Director for Global Solutions and the Interim Head of the Global Solutions Practice for APCO in Europe. And I'm here to tell you three things about recent developments with regards to Brexit. The first two were in Michel Barnier's speech on Monday of this week, which he made in Brussels. He made two very important announcements. The first of these is that the likely future shape of Britain's relationship with the EU is going to be something rather close to the Canada model, the Canadians' free trade agreement with the European Union, with a little bit more closeness, given that Britain is starting from the single market and customs union already in place, and with stronger cooperation on security and all of the other issues that are necessary to talk about when you have such a close geographical relationship between the UK and the rest of Europe. But it's very clear that there won't be sector-by-sector deals, and most particularly there's not going to be any concession on passporting for financial services companies that wish to continue operating as EU companies from the UK. They will have to find another solution than that. The second thing to say is that the Irish issue really is serious, and I've said this before in a previous Three Things video. The Irish government has been saying it to anybody who would listen for the last 18 months. And now Michel Barnier has said it very, very clearly. The Irish border is a very serious problem for Ireland and for the UK. There are more border crossing points, twice as many border crossing points on the Irish border as there are along the whole eastern frontier of the European Union, with Russia, Belarus, Ukraine and Moldova combined. It's going to be very difficult, technically challenging, to patrol that border to make sure that it works with full legality on both sides. And there's a feeling that if the British want to create a border, they must explain how they're going to work it, and that hasn't happened yet. That point is now, I think, very clear in the discourse. The third important development was not part of Barnier's speech, but it was a decision made by the British government in London, also on the same day as Barnier was making his speech in Brussels. And that was the agreement that Britain is going to offer more than they'd previously said they would do as part of the financial payment to regularise the arrangements for Britain leaving the EU. It's probably a bit pointless to discuss exact figures, but we see now discussion of £40 billion or euros rather than 20 billion. The number that's floating around in Brussels is 60 billion. It's not too difficult to see how there might well be a meeting of minds in between those two figures, probably ending up closer to the EU figure than to the British figure. That is particularly important because while the two Barnier announcements make it clear how difficult it's going to be to find an agreement for the relationships between Britain and the EU after Brexit, the British government decision makes it more likely that there actually will be such an agreement to implement.